Hello to you all. Here we are at the Cathedral Church of the Nativity. I am Canon Dale Grandfield, and I am here with
Kathy Bailey.
Kathy Bailey. We are grateful to be here to have our fourth in this series of conversations during our season of creation about being better stewards, more faithful in caring for God's creation. So, Kathy, what's our topic today?
Our topic today is garbage.
Oh, I love garbage. That's one of my favorite topics to talk about, I'm sure.
And I think the whole idea about garbage is less is more. So
that seems right.
First of all, I never realized that when we throw something in the trash that goes to landfill, that methane gas and nitrous oxide are the gases that are released from the breakdown of all of that trash.
Right.
And that's damaging to our environment.
Is that why when you drive past Garbage Hill there on your way almost into Phillipsburg, New Jersey, you can see all those pipes coming out of the ground?
Right. They're trying to disperse that up higher into the atmosphere, but it's still in our atmosphere. So
wow. Yeah, and when you consider the amount of garbage that we produce as citizens, as people, where does it all go? How does it all break down, and what is the cost to our environment from all the byproducts of that happening?
And of course, I don't want that garbage in my neighborhood.
No, so right? Not in my backyard, right? I mean, that is the thing with garbage. Nobody wants it in their backyard.
Wants it in their backyard.
Right.
But there are things that we can do to reduce, reuse, and recycle. And you've probably heard those fancy terms before. Mm-hmm. So think about when I'm throwing things away. How do I reduce the amount of garbage that I have? Not buying as much, buying secondhand, buying things that are used so that those things don't end up in going to the trash.
That makes a lot of sense.
Reusing things.
Yes. Like a container that might be intended to be single use, you could reuse as a storage container or something like that so that it's not going directly to the landfill.
So I've started trying to buy my peanut butter in a glass jar instead of in a plastic jar, and then I can wash out that glass jar and reuse it for storing other things.
Fantastic.
Not just food too. It can store pens and pencils
or
all kinds of
rice. Well, that's a food, I guess. But
anything.
Yeah. Wonderful. Now, talk to me a little bit. I know one of the issues, Kathy, that we face with regard to our refuse and our garbage is plastic.
Right.
That is the big problem. Of course, here in Bethlehem, where the cathedral is, we have a robust recycling program that is different depending upon which township we're in. But how do we deal with plastic? Obviously, reducing
your use of plastic. Mm-hmm. So one thing is trying to buy things in glass containers or things that aren't plastic. Mm-hmm. But I think paying attention to what can be recycled in your area. So I live in Hanover Township, and I didn't realize that only plastics, they've got that little triangle, those number 1 and 2 are the only ones that Hanover Township recycles.
So you need to pay attention to the number.
And it's hard to see sometimes. I do have to get out my little magnifying glass.
So this takes a little extra work, little extra diligence on the part of the person recycling to make sure that the number is actually recyclable.
Right. Now in Bethlehem, you can recycle all numbers of plastic.
Interesting. Okay.
So the triangle that has a number in it from 1 to 7, those are all recyclable in the city of Bethlehem, but not all in Hanover Township. So I don't know about where you live or where anybody else lives, but you need to know those rules. And the best way to find it's pretty easy, is just to go on your township's website and search recycle plastic, and it'll give you all the details.
Great.
The other thing you have to do is you have to make sure that it's clean.
Oh, so it needs to be washed. Like wash it out.
Wash it.
Right. No food residue.
No food residue. Because if you don't,
that's important.
It's going to go in the trash, into the landfill.
I see.
And now we're actually paying our recycling company to throw away our garbage.
instead of just sending it
which
direct.
increases the cost of recycling, which
Yes.
makes it even more expensive for us when we pay that yearly bill
Yes,
for our garbage and our trash.
that makes
recycling.
sense. So first, pay attention to the number on plastics. Look at the number.
Right,
Second, make sure that it is spick and span,
right.
cleaned out.
Yeah,
And any other rules that your specific township has about
Right.
recycling. I do understand that Bethlehem, the Theusfield site, recycling site up on Illicksville Road, is open to anybody. People can come from any township. You don't have to prove residency of Bethlehem there. If you would like to bring plastics that are not recyclable in your township, you can bring them to Bethlehem.
which is a great way of continuing to recycle, even though your local area
It
may
is.
not do that.
It is.
Yeah.
So numbers and cleanliness.
And
What else do we need to know about plastics, Kathy?
Well, I think the only other thing I think about is putting some of the responsibility of creating plastic on the companies that are actually selling plastic,
Got it.
packaging things in plastic. I think, if we have a chance to lobby them,
Yeah.
Support companies that aren't using plastic,
Yes.
your dollar makes a difference. So if you
Yes.
support the peanut butter company that has their peanut butter in a glass jar versus a plastic jar,
They're going to produce
They're
more.
gonna produce
supply
more
and
of it.
demand,
Exactly.
right? And so much, from what I understand from conversations that I've had, so much of the costs of recycling, particularly with regard to plastics, end up being shouldered by the townships and by the state. And so the government's having to pay for this. We are having to pay for this,
yes,
right?
it's our tax
When
money.
it's our tax money that's paying for this, when actually it's big businesses, corporations that are producing and using plastics that are reaping the benefits of that usage. And so that's a great point to think about how we also advocate for less plastic usage and creation on a level above. Wow, Kathy, that's a lot to think about.
It is a lot.
So let me just one more time, because I know because there's a lot to think about, to review those three things is first and foremost to check the number on plastics. Hopefully reduce the usage that we do of plastics, but when we do use plastics, to check the number, to make sure that the plastic is clean and that it is according to the guidelines in your city. And can I put my plastics out in a plastic bag to be recycled?
Oh, so plastic bags are a really bad thing to do.
Oh, okay.
So what happens is, if you throw a plastic bag with your plastic containers in it into your recycle bin, it's going to go directly into the landfill.
Oh, they're not going to open it up
They're
and take
not
it
going
out.
to open it up. They're not taking the time to do that.
Got it.
Bad.
So do not put it
Do not.
in another bag, in
Another
a trash bag or whatever. It needs to go direct into the bin.
Exactly.
And I do understand that the recycling agency, the recycling center here in Bethlehem, is quite understaffed. So it makes sense that they're just trying to manage the volume that they have. And so, number of the plastic, cleanliness, put it direct into your bin or direct at Theusfield here on Illicks Mill Road. And we need to be thinking about the ways that we invite our companies and our corporations to be better stewards of plastic usage as well. Fascinating, Kathy Bailey.
It's all
I
fun.
appreciate it. This, of course, is our fourth conversation in our series for our season of creation. We're a number of weeks into here liturgically at Nativity Cathedral, as well as in our conversations. And we're headed towards something, Kathy. What are we headed towards?
Well, we are going to have an action day. We are going to be standing outside of Nativity and also outside of Central Moravian Church at Main Street
Fantastic.
and Church Street, I think.
Mhm.
That's on the corner there.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have banners and signs. We are calling this event Faiths for Climate Justice. And we are going to make our presence known. We're going to be praying, and we're going to be standing there letting people know that we care about the earth.
Wonderful. That is part of our faith commitment.
Yes.
Faiths for, number 4, climate justice. All smashed together. Hashtag is the way to make sure that it gets tagged on Facebook and on Instagram. Hashtag Faiths for Climate Justice.
And if you can come join us, we'll be
Please
there on
do.
Sunday, the 17th of October from 3 to 4. And on Monday, the 18th of October from 4:30 to 5:30. We'll be right outside the church with our banners and our signs.
These are things that affect every one of us, every
That's
single one of us. Our planet is precious. There's our fragile earth, our island home, as one of our Eucharistic prayers says, and we are called as faithful people to be good caretakers of it.
All right.
Thank you, Kathy.
I'll see you next week.
See you next week.